This is the inside of the 2021 Benimar Tessoro T483. If I firstly move to the main control panel, I can turn the 12 volts on by firstly pressing this button, followed by this one. Once we've done this, we can turn the water pump on and off just here. We need the water pump on to be able to get water out of the taps, flush the toilet and fill the boiler if it's been drained down. We then have awning light on and off, and then we move to the lower buttons. This first one here gives us an indication of the condition of the leisure battery. Then we have the condition of the vehicle battery, how much water is in the fresh tank. When the waste tank needs emptying, you will get a red flashing light next to the waste tank symbol just here. When your fresh water gets low, you will get an amber light flashing next to the fresh tank symbol. And if either of the batteries did get low, again you will get flashing indications. This last button here just controls the illumination of this control panel, so it works basically like a dimmer switch. Here we have a green light just letting us know that we're currently connected to mains electricity. And then this little picture of two batteries here will get an illumination next to it when you start the engine of the motorhome. This is indicating to you that the alternator is charging both batteries. You can only view this if you have this button on and this one. If we now move across to the next control panel, this one here is for the Truma heating and hot water system. You'll see it's currently displaying the time, and it's also letting us know that we've got main supply connected. If I now press the button, you'll see a series of icons appear, and as I rotate the button they will begin to flash. So if we start with the first icon here, if I now click on it, this is for your heating. So currently the heating is off. All I now do is just rotate and pick whatever temperature I would like it to be inside the motorhome, and it will go right the way up to 30 degrees. So once you've decided, click to store it in, and you'll now see a little flame has appeared just above the heating symbol. That little flame just represents the heating system, and it's just letting you know that you've set a parameter. Whenever the heating is in operation, the flame will begin to flash, and it will continue to flash until it's achieved the temperature you have asked it. If I now click again and I rotate to the next symbol, this one here is for your hot water, and again hot water is off. If I rotate, I can heat hot water in eco mode, which will give me a water temperature of about 40 degrees. I can heat in hot, which is about 60 degrees, and I can also perform a boost on the boiler. The booster is mainly designed for if there's going to be more than one person having a shower, or if you just want hot water extremely quickly. If you do perform the boost and the heating is in operation, the heating will turn off as it needs to use that extra power. And again, exactly the same as the heating, you will get a flashing icon until it's achieved the temperature you have asked. If we now move across to the next, this one here is power source. So we are currently using mains electricity to heat our hot water and do our heating. And you'll see we have two little lightning strikes. So that means we are currently using mains electricity at 2 kilowatts. If I rotate, I can lower the power consumption to 1 kilowatt. This is extremely handy if we're on a low amp site to try and avoid tripping. If we have both power sources available to us, we can run on a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatts, or a mixture of gas and mains at 1 kilowatt. These settings are handy, especially in the colder months. If you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly, it will only consume gas as it's required. And then lastly, if we don't have any main supply, we can solely run on gas. Next we have the circulation fan for the heating system. So at the moment the fan's in eco mode. We can turn it up to high, Also, if I now went and turned off the hot water and the heating and returned to it, we could also use it to vent the motorhome as well. Next we have a basic timer. So if I now set a start time and then an end time, and then all we do is select what we would like on within that time period. Lastly, timer on or off. If I now activate the timer icon will come up there, and now within that time period those settings will apply, as you can now see. If I now return to it, I can turn it back off, and when we go back into it we can then alter it again. Next we have clock set, and then lastly we have the settings menu. So within that we have offset, which is just for the thermostat, which is located just here. If you don't think it's quite correct, you can just slightly adjust it. Temperature, just if you prefer everything displayed in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Brightness of the screen. 12 or 24 hour clock. Language. Index, this is more for the technicians, it just lets them know what software it's running. And then lastly, full factory reset. From time to time, these control panels will throw up error codes. They will usually be something relatively basic. So at the moment we're running on main supply. So if I went and pulled the mains lead out, or we tripped, etc., it would let me know on the control panel that it no longer has main supply. It would do exactly the same thing if you're trying to do something on gas and you haven't got your gas turned on, or your bottle is depleted, or if you have opened up this window and set off the pressure switch. An error code will appear as a warning triangle, and you will get a series of numbers and letters. Then within the downloadable Truma manual, or if you just Google it, it will tell you what the problem is. 9 times out of 10, as long as you rectify the problem, so plug yourself back in, replace your gas, etc., the error code will then automatically disappear. If that's not the case, just return back to the warning triangle and double click on it. It will then sometimes say no error and then disappear. If that doesn't work, if you still have items running like I have at the moment, just turn them off, because it can reassess a lot faster when it's not trying to do lots of things at once. If that still doesn't work, I then always suggest the good old-fashioned turn it off and turn it back on again. And the way we do this is just by holding this button down until it says off. And if that still doesn't work, then I always suggest doing the factory reset, because sometimes all they just need is to be reset and they will then work again absolutely fine. This Truma system can also be controlled via the Truma app. So if you download the Truma app from the App Store onto your device, make sure that your Bluetooth is turned on, and then launch it, and then follow the on-screen instructions. It will firstly ask you to go to the iNet box, and the iNet box in this model is located above the microwave, just up here, and you'll see there's a bit here that says Bluetooth. So it'll ask you to hit the Bluetooth button, which is here. It will then send the Bluetooth signal out, and you will then be able to connect up to it, and then you will be able to control your heating and your hot water locally via Bluetooth. What you can also do is purchase a pay-as-you-go SIM card, which locates just about here where my finger is. If you then plug that in and register that through the app, you can then control your heating and your hot water from much further afield. Whilst we're up here, we also have the digital amplifier for the television aerial, on and off, just on the side here, and then control the boost just here. And then it's just a matter of turning the television on. And then if you change location, you will need to retune it in. And with the Avtex televisions, it's just hold down this orange button and it will take you straight back to the retune menu, and then just hit OK, and it will then retune it in for you. Otherwise it just behaves like any other TV. You have your TV guide, etc. This also has USB connectivity as well. If we now come to the bench seat just here and we just remove the cushions, we can then lift up and you'll see that we have storage here. We also have the battery charger just here. It's also located here as well. This is the part that the solar panel is connected to, so you can actually see that the solar panel is active just there. We also have the trip switches just here. So if anything's not working on main supply, just come to check to see whether or not you've tripped. You've also got the main RCD and the test button, just where my finger is waving just there. 12-volt fuses just there. So if anything is not working on 12 volt, just come to check to see whether or not you've blown a fuse. And then next to it we have the location of the Truma boiler itself. All we really need to know about the boiler is how to drain it down for winterization, and it's just done on this little device here with the blue diamond on top. So the drain valve on these are automatic, so if the temperature inside this motorhome drops below about 3 or 4 degrees, this valve will automatically open and drop all the water out of the boiler to frost protect itself. If you are going to manually drain it, all you need to do is make sure the water pump is turned off, come to this blue diamond and twist it. When we twist it, a blue button is going to pop out at the base of the unit. All we now need to do when it comes to wanting to fill the boiler back up again, twist it back, push the blue button in, fill up the fresh water tank, turn the water pump on, and it will then begin to prime the boiler back up again. I always suggest that when draining down for the winter months that you also open up all the taps in the van. This will aid in releasing any airlocks in the system, helping it drain down more efficiently. So when it comes to filling it back up again, the taps will cough and splutter as they force the air out of the system. Wait until they're running freely on hot and cold, and then close, and then the system will fully reprime. If this has auto dropped, all that will happen is the blue button will just pop out at the bottom, and all you need to do is just push it back in to reset it. If it will not stay in, it's just because it's too cold within the motorhome, and you will need to turn your heating on to allow it to warm up to then reset. You are only touching the blue diamond when you are manually draining down. If we now come across to the other side, and again I just remove the cushions, you will see that we have some storage just here, and then also tucked behind the driver's seat you will see a switch. It is on when it's illuminated, and this switch here is for the heater that is located within the waste tank. So if you're using the motorhome in extremely cold climate, you can pop this on to avoid your wastewater freezing in your tank and causing frost damage. We then have this section just here, which has some clips. Just pull forward just here to drop it down. This then allows the use of both travel seats. If I now just remove this cushion just here, we then have the location of the fresh water tank. So we can gain access just here by unscrewing the blue cap if we want to clean the fresh tank out. And we also have the water pump just here. We then have the microwave. This will work when we're hooked up to main supply. We have power setting just here, and then we have on and off and time set just here. Beneath that sits the Thetford fridge freezer, on and off just here. This is an automatic model, so as long as you are on A for auto, it will find the best power source it can for you. So because we're currently hooked up to main supply, it's put us onto mains with a little picture of the 2-pin plug. If I now went outside and pulled the mains lead out, it would then automatically change over to gas, and as soon as we start the engine, it will then automatically go over to 12-volt maintain to keep itself cold whilst on the move. As you can see, the display disappears after a few seconds. To bring it back up, just touch the on-off button. We can, if we want to, by pressing here, take it out of auto and manually put it onto mains. We can manually put it onto 12-volt maintain. We're going to get an error code at the moment because the engine's currently not running. And we can manually put it onto gas. But auto is the easiest one to have it on. Temperature control just here. And then beside it, we have the unit's anti-condensation jacket on and off button. So currently the jacket is on. Now the jacket is off. We definitely want the jacket on in the warmer months. This stops the build-up of condensation behind the unit, which would then run down the back and form a puddle underneath it. Because the fridge is extremely large, if you do have a lot of stuff in it, you will find that there is an extra travel catch just at the bottom. Extractor fan, light on and off just here, and then fan on and off just here. We then have the hob, so we've got one electric hot plate that again works on mains electricity, and it operates just here. Then we have the 2 gas rings, push in, twist and press the igniter. And then beneath that we have the oven and the grill. Push in to the left for the oven. And then to the right for the grill. If I now come to the cutlery drawer, you will see the gas isolation taps are located in here. They're all in the on position, and quite frankly they can stay like that. They are more for maintenance than anything else. I always say if you smell gas in the motorhome, go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. But we have barbecue point, heating and hot water, fridge and the cooker. Next we have the washroom. So we have the toilet just here. To open to the cassette, just slide the grey lever across. Push to flush just here. Do make sure the water pump is on. Level indicator just tucked down here. This will rotate round to red when the cassette is full. And then close back up again. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, just make sure nobody's left it open. Basin just here. Light switches just here. And then we have the shower cubicle. Do make sure that both shower screens are secured for travel. And then we have the very large wardrobe at the back. You will find on the wardrobe door that it does give you a cushion diagram for the lower bed as well. To make this lower bed, what we need to do is basically lower this table so it then sits on these supports just here. The table itself moves about on this lever just here, so just by pulling this allows it to slide wherever, and it also allows it to rotate as well. To lower and raise it, it is all done just here. So if I now lower this table into position, as you can now see, I've lowered the table into position, so it is just sitting on those supports. Next, we now just need to arrange the cushions into order. So all of these ones can literally stay where they are, and then we pop the two infills just here, and then we have the backrest just there, and we've then just slid the cushion across, and we have an extremely large double bed. With the electric bed, it lowers and raises just here. If we're going to have it in the higher position, we just drop it down, and then we just pop the ladder on here. As you can see, we have netting that can be attached to the ceiling as well. Light just here. If we are going to lower the bed completely, we just need to make sure that there is nothing obstructing it. But secondly, we need to make sure that we've turned off these lower lights. We want to avoid any chance of scorching the upholstery, and then we just continue to lower the bed. If the bed was to malfunction, so it cannot be raised or lowered, it can manually be wound up and down, and it's done from this point just here. Just literally remove the cover, and you'll see that there's a 13mm nut just there, and you are supplied with a winding tool.